Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Module 7 of the Permission Movement Experience. My name is Lynn Hawkins, and I am your host for today. And our guest is one of our fabulous co-authors of the book Permission to be Powerful. It's the first book in a series of permission guidebooks, and this wonderful lady is not only a co-author, she's a trainer, she's a business owner, and she's a business and personal coach. She's CEO of Ignite Your Life Business Coaching, and she's creator of a group called Women of Impact. And today she's going to show us how your story, merged with the power of acknowledgement, can really just take you soaring. So today we're not only going to talk about the power of acknowledgement, power of the story, talk about what is acknowledgement, who's doing the
Hey, Lynn, I think you've frozen.
brought to you in it, including people as David Bullock, who talked about story leverage. And it was really, how is it to create your story? We all have a story, some more powerful than others, some more traumatic than others, but we all have a story. And what we do with that story really determines what we will do with our lives. Now, I want to let you know that the Permission Movement Experience is happening right here on Google Hangouts. Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, we have a different guest, a different presenter, and we're teaching all about story. Now, that being said, what is your story? Are you ready to release the story of pain and disappointment and give yourself permission to write your new story, to live your new life, to have your powerful business? Well, you're in the right place, and I am so excited to bring to you the wonderful, magnificent Andrea WOOLF. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, Lynn. How are you? So great to be with you.
I'm fabulous. I'm so excited to have you here with us today, because I have to say that I've been working with you for a little over a year now. And one of the reasons that I have seen the more recent success in my business is because of a lot of the things that I've learned from you, including things around the power of acknowledgement. So I'm so happy to be a part of hosting you to share this information.
Thank you.
So let's just get down to it. I mean, what is the power of acknowledgement? What is acknowledgement?
Yeah, well, let's start with what it is, first of all, then we'll get into the power of it. How about that?
Okay. I love it.
All right, so very simply, sometimes we understand by creating distinctions, right? So it's much more than a compliment. You know, when somebody says to you, Lynn, that's really an adorable jacket you're wearing today, and it is, by the way. It looks wonderful on you. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's a compliment. Yeah, you look wonderful. You look well rested. You look happy, right? That's a compliment. What people are noticing about what I would call most of the external surface you. And it's great. A compliment is really great. I don't mean don't give compliments. But, you know, it's a certain level, it's a certain depth that happens between two people when one gives the other a compliment. And it's all good, right? It's really good to give compliments.
Yes.
So it's more than you look great today, yes? There's an aspect of it that's about truly appreciating the other person. This could be, for example, something they've done for you, for others that you notice, right? Perhaps if they're in a team or maybe a friend in your life where they've gone the extra mile for you and or for others. particularly as business owners, this is the reason I'm saying and others, because it could be that one of your team members made a difference in the life of another team member, and you happen to notice it, right? It's in some shape or form for the difference that they're making, yes, in some way impacting in some important or maybe tiny way. Because acknowledgements do not have to be about something where it's a life-saving moment. It can be an acknowledgement for just who they're being or what they have done, right? Let me say that again. Who they're being or what they've done. We are human beings, after all, not human doings.
Yes.
Yes? Often, who we're being has a much bigger impact than anything we've done, right? Okay, I could spend an hour on any one of those lines that I just said, by the way. They're so important. So to continue on about acknowledgement, right? I'll rein myself in here. Acknowledgement is about seeing the good and the great in the other person. And I'll have more to say on that topic because often that's not as simple as it sounds, because we're complicated beings when we're smart. And then what acknowledgement is, it's very simply speaking it out loud in the simple format called giving an acknowledgement. And I'll even be going into that because I find as I do what I do and travel the world doing what I do, I find that I attract very smart people. And one of the upsides of being smart is everything you know and all the experience you've had. And the flip side of that coin, so it's not necessarily negative, but it is how complicated we can make things. So often clients will ask me, well, what do you mean give an acknowledgement? So I'll be going into that. So it's all so simple and easy. In fact, the simpler and easier, the better. So acknowledgement really is only effective when it lands. In other words, when the other person lets it in and they feel what I call gotten. You know that amazing experience in life when, think about your life right now. And it could be somebody you worked for or with. It could be somebody who works for you. It could be somebody in your life outside of business or work. It could be, you know, a family member, a friend. It could be somebody who you met for a moment and somehow you had this experience that they really got who you are. Think about that moment right now and how magical it is. Because honestly, it's rare when somebody truly gets you and appreciates you for who you are. That is what using the format called acknowledgement has the power to create in the world. It's a very powerful, magical ripple in the world. And then how you know that they have let it in, that it's landed, is they will be saying something incredibly simple to you like, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Instead of deflecting it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to that beautiful jacket you're wearing, Lynn. So typically, you're a woman of great experience, right? Like myself, right? So
yes.
Typically,
I like to complicate things.
Well, for us, yes, and right. So for us women, when somebody says to you, for example, Lynn, that's a beautiful jacket you're wearing, what is a classic answer that we give just to a compliment?
Oh, this old thing.
Exactly. Oh, you know, I've had it for ages. Oh, yeah. You know, like, no need to compliment me on something like a jacket, right? We deflect.
Versus the
thank you. And even, I love it too. You know, like really, like building on the moment.
Yes.
So that's...
It is one of my favorites.
And it looks great on you. So here's what I say about compliments. There are, again, more surface level of acknowledgement. But either way, it's like somebody coming to you with a beautiful silver platter with the most amazing gift you can possibly imagine. And they're saying, here, this is for you. So, Lynn, I just want to acknowledge you for the amazing difference you're making in the world. with all of this brilliant work that you're putting forth, releasing into the world, and you say something like, "Oh, it's nothing. Oh, it's not me.
Uh,
Everybody else but me," right? It's all these amazing women. It's got nothing to do with me, which is obviously ridiculous because you caused and created the whole thing. Yes? You dreamed it up. And so imagine if someone's giving you an actual physical gift and they come to you with the gift and then you go to some form of deflection where you're not allowing the gift in. That is exactly what we do 99.999% of the time with gifts called compliments and definitely gifts called acknowledgements. We are not used to being acknowledged as a world. I wouldn't even say this society here in America. It's really global that we are unused to allowing in acknowledgement. So I'm going to be coming back to that in a second.
So it is really the issue that's brought in about receiving,
Yes.
right? And needing really the best place to be is in a place of self-validation and self securedness to have the heart open to receiving the acknowledgement.
Yes. Yes. So let me say a bit more about typically how this is going to happen when you what's underneath it when you go out into the world and you're showering acknowledgements all over people. So you'll be ready and prepared, right? Because honestly, this is not a topic that most of us think about. And the reason I chose this to share with you today is because this is one of the most powerful transformational tools that I know. And the amazing thing about it is it's free. All you need to do is have this point of focus as you go about your life and your world, and then actually see the good and great and give acknowledgements. I have a personal philosophy that there's no such thing as too many acknowledgements. There's just no such thing because it's just okay. So to quote myself, just at least once from my book, Ignite Your Life: How to Get from Where You Are to Where You Want to Be. Where you choose to focus determines your experience of life. Let me say that one more time. Where you choose to focus determines your experience of life. So here's how most of the planet operates. And I don't think I'm exaggerating at all. We tend to default to seeing what's not working, what's not going, quote, right. In other words, and I'm saying this in quotes because this is not language that I use, what's wrong with self. Most of us women especially are incredibly hard on ourselves. We are very quick to see what's wrong with ourselves, to every lump and bump. I mean, it becomes magnified. Everything that we haven't done in our life, if we enter the comparing game, I mean, on and on and on. And then, unfortunately, what we also tend to do, think about all of your life, jobs you've had, environments you've been in, communities you've been in, maybe even within your family. There's often one or two family members like this, where they just are like Eeyore, from Winnie the Pooh, the beautiful gray donkey for whom life is hard, droopy shoulders, just everything's bad, wrong, hard, struggle, right, like that. Think about how many people who cross your path in your life who take on life like that, and they tend to see everything that's bad, wrong, challenging. That's the filter that they're experiencing their life through, including their relationships. Now, what this is all about is that I believe that central to everything in life, business, yes, 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 personal, yes, 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 is this thing called relationships. And so we are powerful as opposed to powerless in how they go. And one of the most powerful transformation tools, like I was saying, and it's free, is acknowledgement. All there is to shift the focus to noticing what's good and great, as opposed to what's wrong with the other, and then summon the courage. Often it takes that, the first times that you do it, to actually acknowledge the other person for what you're seeing that's amazing about them. Because trust me on this, they are not seeing it in themselves 9 times out of 10. It shifts everything. At first, people may think you're on something because it is so unusual. I mean, you think about this, how many people walk the planet just acknowledging people like crazy? Yes? It's like hugs, you know? There's no such thing as too many hugs. Well, it's the same thing with acknowledgement. So, here's what typically happens. When we're babies, it's magical. You get acknowledged for every little step of baby progress you make. Then you learn how to use the potty, and then that's an amazing moment too. Then you're starting to stand up and get into stuff, and it's still magical. And there's heaps of acknowledgement, baby style, and on up into young childhood. Every baby, young child step of the way, you're getting, if you're blessed with great parents, really you're getting wonderful acknowledgments. Then on into, you know, up into the 10s and 12s and the early teens, it's still going on, especially if you're not a rebel without a cause too young. You're still getting lots of acknowledgement, doing well in school, helping out at home. You're getting lots of acknowledgement, yes?
Yes.
And then if you continue to be blessed and still have great parents who hang in there with you through those mid-teen years, and then you're still getting acknowledgments. Let's say you graduate from high school. That's a big deal, yes? And then if you're really blessed and you go on to getting a job or going to college, you're still getting acknowledgments. And let's say you apply yourself and you graduate from college. Huge acknowledgments right there, maybe even up to your first job. And then it all stops. Now you're a grown-up, and it's like suddenly you're on your own. It's like it all stops. It's like this beautiful orchestra has been playing this music your whole life, and then the music stops. And we don't realize that there is this void, this silence, this gap that gets created as we get into adulthood. Because, okay, my job is done, and maybe there are big life events. Maybe you get married, maybe you have your first child, whatever, you know, the children, all that, yes. So, of course, there are celebrations. But you getting noticed for who you are, or like I like to say, who you be, the difference you make as a human being, that's what stops. And it is so amazing to me. And especially if you think about businesses, again, along your pathway, your career, maybe you had jobs. Look at how few environments, work environments, actually are built around the culture of noticing what's good and great, the acknowledgement thing. And really think about how many are all about like the bottom line, and that who you're being really is not the thing that gets noticed at all. It's just getting the job done, helping the company get to their financial goals and metrics and all that important stuff. It's all important in business. But here's the thing, the people stuff in business, I find really is hugely and sorely lacking. The importance of it and the valuing of people, which is really what acknowledgement is valuing people. So, so we go to this sort of largely negative focused world. This is how it's happening everywhere. And what's good and great and wonderful is often neglected, overlooked, just taken for granted or expected. All of those kinds of ways of being in business. So hence relationships, if you think about this is how relationships get to feel hollow and shallow. They don't feel like rich, like that moment where I took you a moment ago, where you truly felt gotten, where the person really, really understands who you are. That moment, okay, could be all the time, all over communities that you're in. That's the promise of how powerful this thing called acknowledgement is. So let me share an amazing story, okay? Because there's nothing better than stories, right?
Right?
I was brought into a wonderful immigration law firm by the founder, who was struggling because his team were not connected. Now, when I say the reason, you're going to giggle, because he had been very, very smart. He served both individuals wanting to, come to this country or stay in this country, and also organizations. So it was both individual and corporate. And what he had done is he had hired people from each country of the world, so that they would be able to communicate with these foreign individuals and entities in their native tongue. So there was a team of people. No two people spoke the same language. English was the common language, and not everyone spoke English fluently even. So to say that there was a lack of connection going on inside this organization would be an understatement. And they were individually great people who simply didn't understand each other. I mean, literally, both language-wise and culture-wise. There had been no work done on the culture at all. And so it was sort of, everyone was sort of thrown in together. So it was slightly chaotic, and everyone was frustrated. So we went from that place to gathering everybody in a conference room. And here's what I did. I asked for a volunteer. So everybody volunteered this one young woman, Angie. And it was funny because she went bright red. She was very shy. And the assignment was to come back the following week with an acknowledgement for her. And they all were very well behaved. They all did the assignment. So everybody acknowledged Angie the following week. You could have heard a pin drop. You could have heard a pin drop, because it was so moving. In fact, there were even some tears in the room. This is a business law firm environment. Both men and women were moved by what was going on. And long story short, we then started having everybody have an opportunity to be acknowledged by the whole team. Within a few weeks, the whole culture had shifted. They suddenly loved each other. It wasn't even liked each other. They literally fell in love with each other because they started to get who each other were. And they, from not looking at me at all, not wanting to volunteer for this, everybody was chomping at the bit to be acknowledged. This is a beautiful thing, to be publicly acknowledged.
Mm-hmm.
But all that was spoken was what was good and great about each person, how they contributed, how they made a difference. And so we then went to creating the mission statement of the company, of the firm. And the amazing thing was, I had them all put together words and phrases. This would never have happened if we hadn't done the first work first.
Mm-hmm.
Every single person had the word family in their list of ways to describe the law firm. They became a family. Needless to say, the results, everybody organized themselves into teams. The results became extraordinary. Off the charts, the bottom line went sky high. So there is a direct correlation between connection between team members. Profound collaboration happens, and the bottom line results go up. There is a direct correlation between relationships that are going on inside a business and the bottom line results. There is no doubt in my mind. I've been a coach for over 20 years. I absolutely know this to be true. In case anyone out there is thinking, what's Andrea's point here? This is the point. Business is all about results, so I'm a very grounded coach. I'm all about results too. And people matter. When people matter, and they know they matter, they are not guessing it. They're not knowing it just inside themselves, but really it's happening every day in the business environment. It creates a super dynamic, extraordinary team. So now on the personal side, here's an example of personal transformation. So Michelle came to me because she was in a very stuck place about her jewelry business. Okay, and so the piece that then came out in that same first session was she was totally frustrated with her husband. She was waiting for him to do something. They were, quote, happily married, the perfect American family, 2 children, animals, great life. There was nothing, quote, wrong, but she was so frustrated with her husband, she was ready to scream. And he probably didn't even have a clue. Does this sound familiar? Does this sound familiar? So, I said, may we go to the relationship bit first, because everything impacts everything. You understand that there is no accident. You're frustrated with your business if you're really not fulfilled in your marriage. It's connected. She said she fought me on this for a few weeks, but then relented. So my question to her, because coaching is all about being at cause in the matter, starting here, self. So I asked her, what could you do to shift this? And she said, what do you mean? He's the one who's not doing anything. Okay? Do you know that thing where it's all the other person? And so there is a tradition, right, where men take the lead. However, there's no rule about that. That's not a rule that I've seen in any book anywhere. Particularly, when you've been married for a long time, too. So anyway, so we started with acknowledgement, which, again, she resisted like crazy because she wasn't feeling so loving. And I said, well, really, let's put that aside for a second. Really, what's great about your husband? And then she had a list of things to say to me. So the first assignment was supposed to actually say 1 or 2 or 3 of them to him. Say them to him? Yes, say them to him. So she did it, and she was astounded. It was like he was this closed flower that just sort of went like that before her very eyes. She said, you know what? I haven't been doing this kind of thing. They've been married 25 years, something like that. She said, it was amazing to watch it before my very eyes. So I said, so what's the next step? And long story short, she then took on creating a surprise picnic on a Wednesday afternoon, whisked him out of his office, and then he started reciprocating, because this is what happens. The law of reciprocity kicks in, and the other person will feel compelled to then acknowledge you back, to then gift you back. Let's say you surprise them, they surprise you. And lo and behold, their marriage transformed. I mean, transformed before her very eyes. I wanted to be on the dates that she was scheduling for him. Really, they sounded so great. And no, they didn't invite me. They did not invite me. But the point is that it changed everything. She shifted her whole being around and about her husband, did this thing called acknowledge him. So simple, and everything shifted. And yes, I am happy to say that her jewelry business really, that ceiling she was stuck at, where she just was not moving from it, absolutely, the heavens opened up. She started having more energy, was more active out in the community, and the rest is history. I mean, it just absolutely took off. So here's what happens when you see whoever you're going to go first and acknowledge, take on first. When they're like maybe it's like this, communication, the relationship, whatever, and you see them go like that, trust me, you are going to, and something inside you is going to go like that too. It's almost like giving yourself a gift by giving this huge gift to another person. It's amazing how it works. Here is what acknowledgement does. It absolutely brings out the best in people. It's so simple, and it brings out the best in people. As you've heard in my story about the immigration law firm, it brings people together. It pulls a team together in business. It unifies. It's like they become like Marines. Like no one is going to like negatively impact this team. They have each other's backs. And it creates in personal relationships intimacy, closeness, connection. So, I challenge you, who out there doesn't want all this? And it's simple, and it's free, and it's easy. It's easy to do. So all you have to do is literally speak it out loud. Now, you want to make sure that you have the person's attention when you're doing it. So I'm going to go into that in a minute, but it's not just randomly, just like no eye contact, just sliding by, oh, by the way, Lynn, you know, you're amazing. It's not that. It's meaning it, right? It's intending it.
It's meaningful and purposeful.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, and where things are complicated, I mean, here's another example of a story. There's a business that I've worked with the whole management team and individuals within it. And within them, there are family members. So there's a father, there's the daughter, his son, and the daughter's husband. So for any of you who have family members in your business, you know how complicated it can be at times, right? It's, you know, where maybe the boundaries aren't super clear and things get complicated because there's the family agenda threads that get interwoven with business decision making, and so it gets all tangled very easily. Or somebody will say something perfectly innocent as sort of an idea for the future, and somebody takes it personally as criticism. You know, like layers of complexity like that. Very quick way to sort of disentangle that muddled knot, as happened with this family, is to use acknowledgement. So now, maybe a nerve end got hit, and you're looking at them, and you know, maybe when they've calmed down a bit so they can hear it, you're reminding them about just what an amazing difference they make in some specific way within the family team. It's very hard to stay, shall we say, aggravated, irritated, angry when you're being acknowledged. It's really like, what do you mean? It's very hard to be angry. There's something great something's saying to you, seeing the great in you. It's a great reminder, right, about who you really are in the face of a moment where maybe you were acting like you were 5 years old, right? So this can help simplify complicated moments, right? Very good. Okay. And then for those of you who have teens, here's another example. Sarah, again, typically people do find me for their business first. And then we find out what's really going on. So amongst other family members, she was really frustrated with her 17-year-old son. And let's see if this sounds familiar to any of you. So he basically stopped communicating completely. He would come home from school and go to the refrigerator and either eat or take food to his room and close the door. And that's how it was when we started. There was no communication going on with her 17-year-old son. I asked a really simple question: is this okay with you? And of course she said no. I mean, it was not ideal. She had no idea what was going on in his life. Really not a good idea these days, yeah? And it was like he was treating it like a hotel. So we looked at, well, how could we shift this no communication thing going on? So I said, well, tell me something wonderful about your son. What do you mean wonderful? He's not being wonderful at all, right? Really holding on. What it looked like right now. That moment, right? It was real. He really was being like that. But really, is there something wonderful about your son? Well, yeah. And then she came up again with a list of things that were wonderful about his son. It's just that he was in that 17-year-old behavior thing going on. Now, she had it, listen to this, that, well, this is how all 17-year-old boys are. Really? Okay, well, what if that is a rule that you made up? What do you mean? Well, isn't it how all this, as I opened up the inquiry, right? Well, isn't this how all 17-year-old boys are? So I said, well, how about we leave everybody who is 17 and male out of this conversation and get into transforming what's going on with your son? So she said, well, that sounds really great, actually. And guess what we used? We used the acknowledgement, the power of acknowledgement. So I invited her to not get caught in the trap of what it looked like right now, and to find a moment to speak an acknowledgement out loud in English to, that was the language they spoke, to her son. To say something great to him. And he was very confused the first time she did it. He was on his way to the refrigerator one time, right? It didn't make any sense to him. He looked at her like she was on drugs, and she wasn't, right? And then the second time, he looked a little bit intrigued by this. And the third time, he actually stopped and had a chat with her. And from then, they kept building on it, right? Just gently, gently. Because you know how 17-year-olds do not like to be told what to do, right? Or rules.
Mm-hmm.
It usually doesn't go well. So she went at it completely the counterintuitive way. And it just took a few acknowledgments for him to just do this thing, the opening up like a flower. And remembering who he really was, even in the body of this 17-year-old male who's becoming a man but not yet quite, and all that confusing stuff that was going on for him. And so they reconnected, and it all transformed. Really, this works on anyone breathing. Anyone breathing, right? It really works.
That is so, so powerful. Yeah.
Yay! Exactly. So shall we go to how to do it?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Perfect. So it is this simple. So like I was just saying, this is about being intentional about it. I don't mean so to the degree that you're scary, but it's like, number one, think about what you really mean, what you really want to communicate to that other very lucky person. And then you want to capture a moment. This is not necessarily a 4-hour thing. It's a moment, right? It's a moment. It could open up into a beautiful, deeper conversation, but the actual acknowledgement is just a moment. And so you definitely want to be face to face, yes, if you can. Although, once you exercise the muscle, you'll be able to do this by phone. It works by phone. It works by Hangout. It works by Skype. It could even work by carrier pigeon, but we'll leave that one off the list. Okay, so
Andrea,
yeah.
how does it, I mean, you gave some really, really great examples, and I hear your how. Stop in the moment, really give it some thought, let it be purposeful and meaningful.
Yes.
When you think about it in the context of your story, how can acknowledgement actually empower your story? The mom and the teenage son. She brings her story with her, which is part of the whole conflict situation.
Well, think about that example. So she had a story going about how 17-year-old boys are, so enduring life until he was up and out. That was the story she was living in when we first crossed paths. Yes? And it was, when I asked her, is this ideal? Absolutely not. Of course not. No, I love my son. I would love to be sharing his life with him, understanding what he's going through, be there to support him, anything he'll let me in. Right. And so once I heard what she really wanted her story to be, right, because I only coach what people really want, not what I want for them. So then we went there and caused and created it. Does that make sense? We actually intentionally caused and created it.
Yes.
Yes? And this is how it can impact any relationship you have, right? So your story is filled with people in your life. Yes? In your business life, if you're working in your work life, in a job, right? If you are in a community of any kind, if you have a family, it's all made up of human beings, yes? So if any aspect of your story, you want to transform that, grow it into something different, there is nothing that I know more powerful, quicker, more life-enriching for everyone concerned. The other lucky person and you, or people and you. You can acknowledge a team, by the way. You can do this in a group. You could gather your whole family together and transform the whole family. In fact, I just thought of an amazingly touching story. And I'm hoping you can hear me, Lynn, because you're frozen on my screen. So I'm hoping that you can hear, everyone can hear me.
Yes.
So there was a family so there's a woman I was coaching, and Beth, and we working on all kinds of areas in her life. And then she decided, because she saw how powerful acknowledgement was, to bring it to a family ritual. And so she had 3 sons, 3 little boys. And the youngest one, who was 5, he was about to turn 5. And so what she did, she created, this was the first time, and then it became a family ritual. They created a circle around this beautiful little boy, and each one of them acknowledged them for the amazing little human being that he was as he turned 5. And she said we were all so joyful, and just we were crying by the end of it, the whole family in a group hug, because everybody was so moved by this acknowledgement process that they created. So every one of the family could not wait, the husband, her, the 3 kids, for the next acknowledgement circle that they were going to do together. It became a family ritual. Can you believe that?
I love that. The acknowledgement circle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And 5 is not too young. You understand? Kids have no.
They understand.
They understand. They understand this stuff. So here's how you deliver it. It is this simple. This is this simple. Lynn, if you can't think of another way in, this is the simplest way to do it. I want to acknowledge you for, and then keep going. Is that not crazy simple?
That is so simple. It seems like we would want to make it complicated.
Yeah.
That's an excellent way to.
Yes. Okay. So again, you're frozen still on my screen. I'm hearing half of what you're saying, but whatever you said, yes. Another way to do it is where you're talking about the great contribution, something that the other person did for you, the team, the company, and I want to acknowledge you for all that, right? So this is as simple as you can make it. And I promise you, once people push through their cynicism, their skepticism, which is all prevailing out in the world, they will see if you have eye contact, where they get that you're being authentic, you really mean what you're saying. It's very important you mean what you're saying. Where you give yourself permission to put a little passion underneath and your words, right? So that you're really being a feeling about it. You're giving yourself permission to really express, yes, and then you're listening for, with all of your senses, right? Is this landing? Often people will at first deflect, and I use a lot of humor. If you haven't already seen that here, so I will do something like, okay, Lynn, if you deflect an acknowledgement I've given you, so let's give that another go. And I repeat what I just said to you. I want to acknowledge you for the huge difference, your impact you're making on the world with this amazing permission experience and permission movement. And if you deflect again, I'll do it again until you relent, because you will. By the 3rd time, everyone relents, right? And you simply say something like, got it, or thank you. Thank you is the most common.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you are a deflector yourself, very important I add this, if you deflect compliments and acknowledgments, then you want to instantly take on letting that go, because here's what's so. If you will not allow acknowledgments in, when you go to give them, you're going to find people don't let yours in. It's exactly how it works out in the universe. So, so let them in yourself. It's like you are pushing away a gift that someone is absolutely giving it their best shot to give to you. Who are you to not accept their gift?
That's right.
Really, really. If ever you've
Right.
had a gift pushed away, you know how that feels. Not good, right? So,
Right.
so receiving is as important as giving.
Yes.
Great point, right? Great point. Very important point. Yes. So be that person who actually receives with gratitude, and watch what happens when you go to give acknowledgements in your world with all your lucky family members, your friends, communities you're in. Maybe you're involved in a non-profit, you volunteer, you're on a board. Boards of non-profits, oh my God. There is usually so much dysfunction going on boards of non-profits, and a very quick way to transform them is to start looking for what's good and great in individuals and start acknowledging them. Watch how it all transforms and everybody pulls together. This works everywhere with anyone breathing. So all you've got to do is check for pulse, then acknowledge.
I love it. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it.
Yes. Often people say to me, well, when is it a good idea to use acknowledgement? Well, anytime. Really, anytime. At every opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. Change how you feel about through the power of acknowledgement, because it's
Yeah.
something that we want to learn to do as well.
It's really a great habit to have. It's just a great habit.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, this has been such a great learning opportunity because you've shown us all the very important aspects of acknowledgement and in the various situations that we would find ourselves, work, family, intimate relationships, friends. I love the acknowledgement circle idea. I think that opportunity comes out of connectedness, and to increase connectedness, acknowledgement is a true, authentic, heartfelt key
Yes.
to what
Yes.
leads to more connection, deeper connections.
Absolutely, yes. Really, at the end of the
So,
day, yeah, I believe the heart-to-heart thing is what it's all about. So, Lynn, I'm not hearing you again. I think you cut out.
yeah,
Ah, there you are. Good.
yes, I'm back.
Yay.
So, I was actually going to say, as I'm looking at the time, I want to be respectful of the time. I love the information you've shared, and I want to know if you have something for our audience so that they can connect with you. And the Permission Movement experience has been all about that, bringing the connection opportunities to this group, those who are watching us on video replay, as well as those who are watching through the digital packages.
Yes.
And I know that you have something really great for our audience. Tell us about it, please.
I do. Thank you, Lynn, so much for this opportunity. So, I created this very simple, very easy to use, actionable, short chapters, actionable book. Ignite Your Life: How to Get from Where You Are to Where You Want to Be. I take you gently by the hand on the journey called getting clear, like what's been holding you back in life, then what it is to create, right, that vision, so you can live into that vision. And then the third part, and this is all in short chapters, super, super easy, user-friendly, need to know nothing about coaching. This is just me taking you by the hand. And the third part is living an ignited life. Imagine that. If there's some area in your life where you just really want to transform it, this book will help you do it. You'll hear my voice all the way through it. Now you've heard me here and seen me here. And also, because I'm all about experiences, right? So I have a wonderful digital experience for you called the Light Your Fire 30-Day Challenge. And again, you're going to take a journey for 30 days around mindset and create new habits and shift your beliefs and see new possibilities. And it's a lot of fun. It's very easy to do, not time consuming. You know, it's for busy people. This whole package is simply $9.97. So I hope you agree with me. It's an absolute no-brainer. So please run, don't walk. Please come join me. Look forward to seeing you on the other side when you buy this wonderful package. The link to go get it all is so my website is www.igniteyourlifebook.com, and it's /book. So one more time, igniteyourlifebook.com /book. And that will take you right to the page.
And I want our audience to know, too, that you'll see it right on the page under this video if you're watching the replay or part of the digital package. You will see this there as well.
Great. Thank you, Lynn. Super
so,
great.
Andrea, let's wrap things up, and I would love for you to share a parting thought. What can they take with them around this whole thing about empowering your story through acknowledgement?
Yeah. So I just really want to say this very clearly to you. You know how sometimes you feel like you're in a little rowboat in the middle of a very big ocean, getting rocked and bumped up and down and around and going nowhere? So you're feeling like life is coming at you. You're at the affect of life. So I hope that you have got from all of this that there are ways, simple, easy, no-cost ways to take the reins. I'm going to mix my metaphors here a little bit and really just be at cause in your life. Create that which you actually want. Very simply, and just through simply speaking it, connecting, speaking, I promise you, it is so exciting when you start doing it. You're gonna see this. There are ways to transform your life that so that you are at the helm of your own ship. Back to that water metaphor. So that you are causing that which you want in your life, and before you know it, you really will ignite your life. You'll light up your life. You will be living the life of your dreams. That's how powerful this is. But it starts with something as simple as acknowledgement.
That's beautiful. So on point for what it is that the permission movement is all about. So I would just like to invite our audience to just join the permission movement, but give yourself permission, acknowledgement into the things that you do. My name is Lynn Hawkins. I am the creator of the Permission Guidebooks, the Permission Movement, and the Permission Movement Experience. And it's just been such an awesome privilege to have been able to rally those who are supporting the cause of helping others to learn to give themselves permission to acknowledge self, to live at a higher consciousness level in life, and to do more for themselves and others because of what they're learning through this experience. And I want everyone to know as well that we are marketing the digital products of the entire 9-week, 27-module Permission Movement experience for a mere $147. And guess what? For every 2 packages that are sold, 1 package will be donated to a nonprofit organization that supports women and girls. And this was truly a huge part of what all of this is about, because can you imagine someone at age 20 or 17 even recognizing the power and having that as something to add to their skills toolbox, their life skills toolbox, and be able to go through the next 20 years of their life? What could happen for them to bring a better, richer, more productive life to surface for them? And you can help us to do that. You're purchasing a package to get all of the modules and all of the bonuses. And I have to tell you, the bonuses, you can go to permissionmovement.org, and you'll see at the top on the right-hand side of the screen, PM Experience, and you'll be able to click on that link and find everything that I'm talking about. Because our goal is to reach the hearts, your heart, and the hearts of others, to connect, to bring about the collaboration and the creativity and the communication and the contribution to the lives of others. And you're going to hear more about that as time goes on. But I want to take this moment to say thank you for joining us today in the Permission Movement Experience. My heart's desire is that you've been able to really connect with the thought of the power of acknowledgement. Thank you, Andrea, for being here with us today.
Thank you. My
Just
honor.
amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, audience, for being here, for playing with us, and share the message. Purchase a package, give it to a friend. Purchase a package, give it to your teenage daughter. We're even encouraging you to purchase a package and pick the segments that you'd like to go over in your book study group or in your women's groups, or if you are a leader of girls and women in any capacity, to be able to share this information with them. We realize it's going to make an impact on their lives. So thank you again, and we're going to see you soon on Thursday, as a matter of fact, 12 p.m. Eastern. We have Module 8. I think it's Module 8. I don't know what module it is. But we have the beautiful Desiree Dubois, who's the creator of the community and Empowered Woman. And in that community, she teaches 6- and 7-figure women how to go to 7- and 8-figure businesses. And she's going to share some things with us on Thursday. So if you're interested in learning how to be a 6, a 7, or an 8-figure business owner, woman business owner, you want to be here Thursday. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now. Bye.
Bye.